Hey everyone, and welcome to another video from the Parrot Bros. Today we're going to be doing a video on engine bay dress up. So that's tidying up, mods to add it, sort of make it look a bit nicer, a bit more bling, a bit tidier, and loads of other great stuff. So before we get into it, let's jump into the intro. So what do I mean by engine dress up? So let's jump straight into it. We'll jump in with some of the free stuff first, free and cheap, as that's always the most popular. And basically, so you've opened your engine bay and it looks all right. But you're thinking, what can I do to make it look nicer? Maybe you're going to the shows. Maybe when you take it to the mechanics, you want to open it and they go, "Oh, that looks all right." Or you just, like me, and it's a bit OCD and you need to have it tidy. Some of the best things you can do, plastics wise, the TT, if you've still got them, because mine doesn't and I need to get them. If you still have all the engine plastics, it actually looks quite nice. Now with the engine plastics, they get faded over time. Two things you need some degreaser, which you put in a spray bottle with a bit of water, and get a sash brush. Basically just spray the plastics, get the brush, give it a good wipe, then get a cloth, wipe it off. Or, which is easier if you're happy to do a deep clean, is take all the plastics out, put them on the grass or the driveway or whatever, give them a good coat, jet wash them, and then you can either use a permanent plastic coating like a Gtechniq trim restorer, which is a semi-permanent, we'll call it permanent coating, which does last quite a few years, or you can use something like autoglym gel dressing, which is, or juicy details gel trim, which is a good sort of glossy shine, but doesn't leave any feeling sticky or tacky. And that'll really brighten up the plastics in your engine bay. Now, what I have seen people also do is they've got them either painted in a random colour, like red, blue, green, black, whatever takes your fancy. Or you can get them carbon dipped or dipped with a print on them, which is quite a popular one. To be honest, the world is your oyster. You can wrap them in stickers, whatever you want. It is entirely up to you, but that is a good little cheap option just to sort of neaten the bay up a little bit. Another one is vacuum lines. Now, I get asked this all the time, mainly because they leak and they break. And for less than £10, you can replace all the vac lines. So some in our cars, you've got rubber, you've got braided, you've got silicone. There's loads, and they all go to crap in the end. So yeah, vac lines, less than a tenner, and you can replace it. Check the meterage. I always buy more. I always buy sort of 10 meters because it doesn't cost that much more, and it's always worth having some spare in case you want to chuck a boost gauge in at a later date or something like that. Next one is painting or polishing. Now, this is great. So you can paint or polish your inlet manifold charge pipe strut brace. I don't know if you can polish it, but you can definitely paint it. And the rocker cover. I've seen a lot of people polishing their inlet manifold charge pipe and rocker cover. It looks amazing. Now, that rocker cover, I will mention, is great if you need to. Ideally, you need to take it off to do it because access is a bit crap, but it is worth doing. If your rocker cover is leaking, which is super common on the 1.8 turbo, if the gasket's a bit sweaty around the outsides, or you're noticing sort of oil and oil vapor running down the block, that could well be your culprit. So it's a great opportunity to get it painted while it's off. Now, polishing wise, I will put the name of a guy on Instagram here who does all our polishing. He polished the trophy up in this corner, done a lovely job. And he's quite popular on the TT forums for polishing. Now, if you're not looking at polishing, painting, you can paint it black, stealthy, paint it silver just to make it look clean, or 100 other colours. One I would recommend, which I quite like myself, is the VHT crackle paint, which is sort of a textured kind of ripply paint, and it looks wicked, especially on the inlet manifold and rocker cover. Gives it that real sort of stealthy black look, which is quite a nice option. So yeah, that is painting and polishing. Painting, I mean paint. How much is paint? You know what I mean? £10. You can buy. You want to take the charge pipe off. Anything you do take off, like rocker cover, inlet, or anything like that, I would recommend replacing the gasket. So do cost that into it as well. But they can be purchased relatively cheap, and it's just one of those nice things. If you're looking to clean up the bay, sort of £20-30, it's a job worth doing. Moving on. Now, this is a big bugbear of mine. The coolant bottle. Oh man, does that thing discolour? That goes orange. Mine is rank. I need to order a new one. You can get them for less than 30 quid, which again, you're taking this horrible orange bottle out and putting a clean, clear sort of white one straight back in, and also a new coolant cap, because they go, well, not blue anymore. But yeah, so change the coolant bottle, coolant cap, 40 quid all in. Nice little one. Obviously, if you've got the plastic trim over it, all you'll see is the top, but orange is not great and white is certainly looks a bit better. So that is a nice little one. And also, obviously, if your coolant sensor's gone, bang it in at the same time. It all comes in the bottle, so happy days. And the other one I mentioned, which is cheap, is the ignition coil harness, is what they call it. It's sort of a red, I'll pop a picture up, is a red plastic trim which you put all the core pack cabling in, and it sort of tucks against the plugs for the core pack on top of the inlet, and it looks wicked. They're about 11 quid or 12 quid from Awesome GTI. They come off the later models, not sure which. Maybe jump in the comments and let me know. But I know they come off of the later models, later VAG models. But yeah, sort of 12 quid, and that tidies up the horrible cabling to the coil packs, obviously, if you're going to keep your engine cover off. Right, now, let's jump on to new parts to add some class. So I've sort of put together, this is a list of things I've done in the past, and other people have done, and they do, pretty much everyone does. So I'm sure you may or probably know about half of these, but bear with me. Now, braided fuel lines. This is both an important one and a blingy one. Now, if you have a car that's done 80 to 150,000 miles, I guarantee if you go and open your engine bay and your fuel lines haven't been changed, they look cracked. And obviously, if your fuel lines burst and spray fuel over a hot engine, what's likely to happen? You're likely to have a fire. So this is both an important one, and it is nice if you're going to replace them. Chuck in some braided line. I'll pop a picture up now. But yeah, it makes them look really smart. And if you've got to do it anyway, for the extra 15 quid that the braided is going to cost, then it is well worth doing. Next, probably the most popular out of this list is the fixings kit. Now, this is little anodized washers. You can get them in a wide range of colours, from your simple sort of blacks and silvers right up to pink, green, red, orange, blue, whatever you fancy really. And they basically remove and replace all the fixings in your engine bay. So this is all the things that hold your trim covers on. They can be bought from a wide variety of places. CB Auto do them. They do a kit, loads of different colours, about 16 or 17 quid. And they're all stainless steel, which means they won't go mucky after a while. Try not to swear. But yeah, they replace all the front trim around the outside, all the plastic covers that go on. And it just tidies it up, something rotten. For 16 quid, it's a no-brainer really. Little add-ons. Anodized dipstick. So instead of having the dipstick you've got at the moment, you get a nice little anodized one. You can get silver, black, red, blue. I think there's some other colours as well. And that's about 17 quid. So that tidies it up. Now with that as well, they do a trim plate, which is made out of a polished or brushed. You can get, I think there's another option as well. And it's just sort of a little trim, and it has either lasered on it or etched onto it, like Audi TT Quattro or something like that. And that's again that is about £33 I've got written down here. You can buy them all over the place. And they do obviously different prices, different places. You could just get one and paint it black if you want, get it sort of give it that stealth look, but get rid of that sort of perforated plastic look. So that's a nice little touch. Now, some of you may already have these. Now, there's a couple of options. I found on Awesome GTI that the Porsche is cheaper than the R8 option. So bear with me, have a look into that. I don't know, but they're very similar looking. Now, this is the oil cap and the coolant cap. You get a nice sort of metal and plastic coated one with different coloured bits on it. I'll pop a picture up now with someone who's got them. But yeah, this is genuine Porsche 911 oil cap and coolant cap. They're about 26 to £30 each. I personally really like them. They are quite a blingy touch, and for 50 quid, it depends. If you're doing your bay and you don't mind spending sort of 50 to 100 quid neatening it up, then spend 50 quid on caps. They look great. I'm sure most people will agree. Yeah, they're not OEM, but they are made to fit the right outlet, so they won't cause you any bother, and they do look pretty good. And last one on the dress up is the strut brace. Now, I forgot to mention earlier, you can paint the strut brace, either paint it black again, make it nice and neat, or you can obviously paint it any colour you want. But yeah, they do a dress up kit, which is basically polished nuts, and they do the domed nuts. So instead of seeing the thread hanging out, which is probably rusty, they do a nice kit on eBay. I'll put a link in the description below. It's about £7, and it's just 3 polished nuts that go on top, domed ones that get rid of the thread, and it looks really good. And now for the last section. Now, if you've done all the above, or you've done some of the above and you're looking for some upgrades and you want to sort of do some tuning and stuff, then there's always the upgrades option. Now, this I haven't priced because it is entirely what you buy is what it's going to cost. Now, obviously the first big one, which most people do, is silicone hoses. You've got 2 options. You've got the coolant side of things and you've got the boost side of things. So you can obviously replace your turbo intake pipe. You can replace the intercooler pipe work, and the ones that go to the charge pipe, the one that goes to the top of the turbo. There's loads of them. So that's your boost pipes. You can change all of them. They do a kit. Excuse me. They do a kit. You can buy them singly. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. You can buy them unbranded, branded. There is 1,000 options out there. So that's boost piping. Coolant piping. You can buy a coolant pipe kit. Obviously the coolant pipes on these do go a bit soft, and also if you're going to do them, I would replace the little plastic joiner that you have that's like a 3-way valve. I'll pop a link in the description for what that is. You can buy a metal one because they break and they are quite common for it. So that is something to sort of neaten up the bay, whether you go OEM plus and just sort of get black silicone just to keep it that sort of stealth original look, or you go for the brighter colours like blue, red, yellow, green. Well, there's loads. So yeah, that's the option. Catch cans. While we're talking obviously silicone pipework, you can buy a catch can kit. There is loads out there. The most popular one I've seen is the Cloud9 Customs one, as it's quite a neat and sort of good looking install. And obviously if you're doing your silicone hoses, you can also change the colour of the catch can to the silicone you're matching. And what that does is remove some of the old pipework that looks a bit past its sell-by date, should we say. And it also sort of neatens up the bay and take some of the stuff out of there so there's less to see. So that's also a nice little upgrade. And you can get a charge pipe. Now, the most common and popular one is a track slag. You can get it polished, unpolished and painted, I believe. And that basically removes the baffle from the original charge pipe. I'll pop a picture up. I've got one somewhere of mine. I haven't fitted it yet. But yeah, it basically removes the baffle and also removes the 90-degree elbow from on top of the turbo and just to a straight joiner. They're quite a popular option. They look quite nice, especially if you get the polished one with track slag etched into it. If you want to get a new diverter valve, you can buy a Forge or equivalent 008 valve. That's quite a nice looking sort of blingy item. Also gives you a little bit more noise. And if your old one's tired and you don't fancy another genuine black plastic one, then that is an option for you. Probably the most popular option out of all of these upgrades is the intake, sort of the air filter and heat shield, which looks wicked. I mean, you can buy any air filter. You can buy enclosed, open cone, foam. There's thousands of them. It's easy enough to buy. If you know the size of your MAF, it's either 70 or 80 mil, depending on if you're 180 or 225. But if you buy like the Ram Air one, it comes with that nice shield. I think Cloud9 Customs do their own shield now, which you can have bigger, like the Pro Ram filters and other big filters as well. But that is quite a nice little sort of bay extra. You can obviously you can make your own. You can do whatever you want. There is loads of options, but a nice cone filter gets rid of the box, but sort of keeps it looking sort of sporty but nice. Also gives you a little bit of performance. If you've got a big turbo intake pipe, that is always a great one. And then lastly, the world is your oyster. I mean, if you're going for, some of the lads have got some massive intake manifolds. They've got new big charge pipes. Obviously, if you've got a custom turbo, the pipes might come the other way, like the 034 KO4 conversion off the TFSI. You can have a big inlet pipe, sort of 4-inch coming off to the side with a massive cone filter. You may need to relocate your battery to the boot, because in a TT there's not that much engine bay space. But there is a ton of stuff you can do. I just wanted to sort of highlight probably the most popular ones and the ones I've done and a lot of people have done in the past. Obviously cars you bought, you've seen. And that is some of the cheap options. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If I've not mentioned anything, jump into the comments below, put some details down there. Also go check out our website, www.theparrotbros.co.uk. I'll put a link at the bottom of in the description as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. It's been another video from the Parrot Bros. Bye for now.